All right, we're not going to waste any time. This is the NBA season preview. This is my opinion and my predictions as to what's going to happen this year. For Coach of the Year, I'm going with Ime Udoka. If you want to say it the Stephen A. way, Ime Udoka. He brings an intensity to the defensive side, and basically what Houston's doing right now on the defensive side of the ball, I think they're primed to make a run with the addition of KD. Ime Udoka overall on the court, he's a fantastic coach. I think that some of his off-season, or not off-season, but off the court, proclivities that he's been involved in have gotten people to not want to give him his flowers, whether that's consciously, subconsciously. Nobody's been giving him his flowers as a coach. I do think that the Houston Rockets are primed to make a move this year, and I think he's probably going to win Coach of the Year. For MVP, give me SGA. I mean, the Thunder, they're probably going to be like a high 50 win, maybe potentially 60 win team. I think Jokic is always going to have the numbers. Let's just get that straight. Jokic, that man could wake up, tomorrow out of a drunken stupor, if he was a drinker, if he was. And this man could probably average high 20s, 10, and 8. That's just the kind of player that he is. But what SGA and the Thunder are going to do, I don't think the Nuggets are going to they're not going to have the win total to compete with the Thunder when it comes to an award like that. With MVP and the NBA specifically, it is definitely based on your record. I mean, they're going to look at your record pretty hard in the regular season. Now, Rookie of the Year, I like this guy, Cooper Flag. I think he's going to be an excellent two-way player in the future. I think he's going to have some growing pains that are going to straighten out by around January. VJ Edgecombe, he's probably going to be the best scorer from this group, from the tape that I've seen so far. I don't think there have ever been, 3 straight Rookie of the Year players from the same team. But honestly, the way Dylan Harper looked in Summer League, I think he has a decent shot to win the Rookie of the Year award. That's who I'm going to pick now. If it's somebody else later down the line, oh well. But that's who I'm going with for right now. I think that he has a lot of talent. He's got good length, decent ball skills. I just think that the Spurs, they're kind of lined up well for him because everyone's going to be focused on Castle and Wemby. They're not going to really be too locked in on what Dylan Harper and the other cat, they drafted the cat who's been painting his nails. I forget his name. But they're going to be more focused on Stephon Castle and Wemby. Wemby's going to be taking that next step this year. Speaking of Wemby, Defensive Player of the Year, I have Wemby, and it's not particularly close. I mean, if you look at what Amen Thompson brings to the table, yes, he's a fantastic defensive player. Probably a better player defensively than Wemby is in terms of what he can do on the wing, the way he shuffles his feet, ball movement, etc. He covers all sorts of stuff on the court. Covers a lot of mistakes that other people make. But Wemby, when it comes to just shot blocking, which is what the NBA seems to be in love with when it comes to Defensive Player of the Year awards, it's probably going to be him. For you to win Defensive Player of the Year as a guard or forward, you basically have to be a Kawhi, a Gary Payton, or like Marcus Smart, someone who's a menace on defense. And with Amen Thompson, I think he's going to be taking that next step to, ascend an all-NBA type of player, becoming that kind of guy. I don't think he's going to have the energy to exert on defense, even though the way the Rockets play, he's probably not going to be, allowed to really slack off on defense. I think for him to take that next step scoring-wise and creating opportunities on offense, he's not going to be able to play lockdown defense 100% of the time. He's going to have to pick his spots. And once again, we're kind of leading into it naturally. Most improved player, give me Amen Thompson. I mean, I think he's going to take that next step. It could be Asar as well. Asar, his twin brother, has just as much talent and ability. It could be either one of those guys. Definitely give me one of those Thompson twins to win the most improved player, but I'm probably going to lean more towards Amen based on the team that he's on. Now, Clutch Player of the Year. This is tough. I want to say Curry. I do. Curry's a beast, but I'm going to go with Luka. I think Luka Doncic will probably win this award. The Lakers are going to have a lot of close games this year, I think, based on LeBron being out to start the year. And there's going to be a lot of opportunities for late game heroics. Now, for Sixth Man of the Year, give me Naz Reid. I think what he brings to the table, off the bench is it's basically almost unmatched by anyone in the league as a spark plug, just coming off the bench. Peyton Pritchard, I don't think he's going to be someone who comes off the bench too much. I think this year he's going to get a lot more minutes as a starter. And a lot of the other six-man type of guys in the league, they're either starters already or becoming starters, or they're just not as good as Naz Reid, in my opinion. Now, when it comes to teams, we're just going to cover the big teams. And when I say big teams, it's not a matter of market size or anything. It's just people who I think are either going to make the playoffs or fringe playoff teams. I'm not going to cover, like Sacramento right now. No disrespect. I'm just not going to waste time on that. Let's get into it. Houston, as we said earlier, they look good defensively. I trust them. I think that they're probably going to make a Western Conference Finals appearance this year. Amen Thompson's a really good player. He's one jump shot away from being first, second team, All-NBA type of guy. That's where he is. He's probably going to make the second team or third team this year if he takes that step like he should. Sengun, he's a really nice point forward. Alperen Sengun, he's a really good distributor on offense. He's slick. And Jabari Smith Jr., he's figuring it out on offense. Everyone was calling him a bust and all that. I'm like, you can't really do that for a rookie. I mean, as long as they're not absolutely terrible, if you start seeing sparks here and there and there's continual improvement, you can't call him a bust. I didn't think he was going to be a KD type of guy to begin with. Those kind of guys are rare, and you can usually spot him a mile away. This guy, he's been picking his spots better. Jabari Smith Jr., that is. He's been picking his spots better, and, he's flowing within the offense a little bit more naturally, not forcing his shots, not taking bad shots. If you add Kevin Durant to that mix of what Houston was doing last year, being a tough defensive team who could, score when needed at times, his tough shot making is going to just take them to that next level. Considering that he's not a tough shot maker that, shoots a very bad percentage, this man is probably the most efficient scorer that's ever graced the court. Now, this man's going to score from anywhere. He's 3 levels, and it's efficient at all 3. So when your offense is stagnant, you can toss him the ball, say move the hell out the way, and he's also going to flow within your offense as well naturally. You don't have to really force plays for him. The Lakers, I think the Lakers are going to be a second-round appearance. I don't trust them to beat Houston, OKC, Denver, or Minnesota. Now, this DeAndre Ayton guy, Jesus Lord. He had a lot of potential, but at this stage, he's not the answer. He's not the answer at big that they're looking for. Sorry, it's not going to work. Minnesota, I think they're great above the Lakers, but I trust Houston more than I trust Minnesota. But definitely, I trust that Minnesota is going to be a second-round team. I don't think they're going to be a first-round exit. If they are a first-round exit, that's a significant disappointment, or that's a really huge disappointment in comparison to what they were last year and the year before. That's definitely a regression. But definitely, I trust OKC to get past all 3 teams that I just mentioned before. I think OKC is probably going to make another finals appearance and potentially win depending on their matchup in the East. The East is kind of weak this year, a lot of injuries, and it's kind of ripe for the picking in the East. We'll get to that in a little bit. Dallas, I think they're going to be a fringe playoff team. Health is going to be the biggest issue with this team. If they're healthy, I think Dallas can make some noise in the playoffs, and they can get past the first round, definitely into the second, probably beat a team like the Clippers. Shout out to the Clippers. They are probably the best team that's going to make a first-round exit out of all these teams I'm going to list, because they are probably going to be the most annoying first-round playoff team with whoever they match up with. If they have a healthy Kawhi, and if they can get some of their role players, if James Harden wants to show up, to the party, if he shows up on time each game, the Clippers are going to be a tough out, but they're probably going to be a first-round exit. Denver, got love for Denver, but sorry, I think they're going to be a second-round exit team, and with a top 2 to 3 player in the league, that is a disappointing season. That is a failure of a season when you have a player of his caliber, and I'm talking about Jokic's caliber on your team, especially with the fact that he's not alone. He's got someone like Jamal Murray out there. There's really no reason why they should be finishing less than a conference final appearance or a finals appearance, basically trading off year in, year out. They should be getting at least to the conference finals. That's the kind of talent they have on that team. Now, Murray, let me just say this. Jamal Murray is a very good player. I think that he's an all-star level player. I know he hasn't, gotten that achievement, but for people to try and say Jokic is playing with no all-stars, that's very disingenuous. I mean, is it true? Yes, but let's be honest. Jamal Murray is a beast, all right? In the playoffs, in the last few years, outside of this last playoff, he's been very nice in the playoffs. I mean, the last 4 or 5 years, disgusting. His bubble performance, what he was doing in the 23 playoffs, he's definitely clutch. He's a good pick-and-roll guard, very good player in the league. But I'll say this, since the Olympics last year, I have noticed that there has been a decline. When he was playing for Canada, I noticed that he was bricking shots that he would normally never brick. I mean, he was making turnovers. It just didn't look like himself. He did not look like himself for like the last year. And the Nuggets with this roster, I don't think they're going to make it past the second round. New Orleans, I like them. I don't trust them. I don't trust them for nothing because I don't trust their best player. He's not disciplined enough, and he needs contract years to light a fire under his ass to perform. Excuse my French. Fantastic talent, but the man doesn't play. And it's not because he's tearing his ACL or Achilles tendon. Knock on wood, pray to God that never happens. This man he's not taking care of his body. No discipline. I don't know how you're going to succeed when your best player is not disciplined. Moving forward, the Spurs, I think if they're hot, they're going to make the playoffs. And it's time for Wemby and those other guys to take the next step. They got to get into the postseason. They picked up that cat Harper, the one cat who's been painting his fingernails. They got Stephon Castle. They got a few good pieces on the Spurs now. They really got to take that next step. Pop, he's moved on and upward, so that's not going to be, a thing that's distracting him anymore. I know his health was kind of in question for a little while, so we gave Wemby and them a pass. He had injuries for a little bit. We gave the Spurs a pass, but now it's time for them to take that next step. They got to get to the playoffs. The Jazz, they just drafted a scorer. They drafted that one kid, Clayton, out of Florida. I think they're going to be a team that is not going to make the playoffs, but they're going to be entertaining in the sense that they got some young talent that's figuring it out this year. They're going to be like how the Spurs were the last year or two. They have a young player. I think Ace Bailey is going to be a decent scorer in the league. I don't think he's going to be good enough as a playmaker to really build around him directly. I think you got to get a playmaker. I think Clayton potentially could be that playmaker. We have to see him in real live games versus NBA level talent, not just summer league. And yeah, we got to see what the Jazz are really working with down the line at the end of the year. Are they going to be a team that's 30, and 50, whatever, or are they going to, potentially be close to 500 and build from there? I think they're not going to make the playoffs and they're going to finish sub 500. Golden State is a very frustrating team because I think at this point they're probably a second round team at best this year. Steph is great. Jimmy's still very good, but the Warriors not as dynamic as they were 2-3 years ago. I think they lost a lot with Klay Thompson not being himself. And when he finally went to Dallas, that was the nail in the coffin in terms of Klay covered a lot of BS over there. And it wasn't just Klay. There was Andre Iguodala when Draymond was at his peak. Those guys were a well-oiled machine. They worked very well together. Not to mention they had a 7-foot monster and Kevin Durant that joined them for a few years that just was absolutely disgusting on the offensive end. And KD, when he was with the Warriors, he was playing a lot of really good defensive sets where he wasn't, giving that lackluster effort that he was known for in OKC. Now, Golden State, like them. I think against the right team, they could potentially go to the second round. I think that's them at their best this year. Really, I don't see them going past that. Probably a first-round exit, but I'll give them credit and say second round is their ceiling. Phoenix, I think Phoenix's window, that window has been closed, since the 2021 finals, and that thing got slammed shut with an anvil. Somebody dropped a damn anvil on the top of the window and slammed it shut when Monty Williams was released. The Phoenix Suns, I don't see them making the playoffs unless another team just completely folds and there's, really bad injuries this year. In the West, that's kind of the playoff scene that I see. I see a few teams that, could challenge the Thunder. I think the Clippers are going to be annoying as hell in the first round. They're going to make an exit. I think OKC will get back to the finals out of the West. And I think Houston is going to make a lot of noise this year and potentially make it to the Western Conference Finals. So we'll see. But in the East, let me start off with a lackluster team. And I say lackluster with all due respect because they have underachieved these last 10 years. Philadelphia. I like the Eagles to make the NFC Championship game or potentially go to the Super Bowl. But the 76ers, I don't trust them. I don't trust those dudes at all. I would not bet goldfish on them. I would not bet anything of the smallest value on the 76ers to do anything. Joel Embiid has no knees, respectfully. He's been playing with too much weight on his body, and his history of knee issues is just not going anywhere. Philly is not good enough to win deep in the playoffs. They're good enough to beat a team in the first round. They are not beating any team worthy of a second round a second round visit or an Eastern Conference Finals visit. They're not beating any of those teams in a series of 7. It's just not happening. They can't show up and execute at a high level consistently. They make poor mistakes out of sets, inbound plays, late game decision making, turnovers that are just absolutely egregious. The 76ers are unsavable at this point. They got to blow that team up. When I say blow that team up, I'm talking about you got to get Joel Embiid out of there. Joel Embiid is the type of guy who, once you ship him out of there, that's when he's going to shape up for about a year or maybe 6 months, and he's going to give some team the best 6 months of the last 2 years of that he can possibly provide, and then he's going to fade away into obscurity when it comes to basketball. His body is breaking down on him, it's betraying him, and it's just not happening. Now, Boston is a really good team, but they're still a second round exit. I think Jaylen Brown, Derek White, and Joe Mazzulla are gonna, really try and play their asses off this year and really try and show that they have heart without Tatum. But I just don't see them getting past the second round. They were having trouble with the Knicks last year before Tatum went down, and I just don't see them getting past the second round this year with their team injured the way it is. Speedy recovery to Tatum, of course, and then we move on to the Pacers. The Pacers, I don't see them being anything better than a first-round team this year. I think they showed tremendous heart in Game 7 when Tyrese Halliburton went down. A few of those players still fought. But they lost, what's his name? Not Miles Bridges. Miles Turner. They lost Miles Turner. I think he went to the Bucks. I don't think that's a huge loss. I think that's a notable loss. That's not something that's going to ruin them. But no disrespect to the Pacers. I think they're a great team. If they had Tyrese Halliburton healthy, I think they're an Eastern Conference Finals lock. But the way the East is constructed right now, I don't see the Pacers getting past Boston or not Philly. Not Philly. Boston, Detroit, the Knicks. I just don't see them getting past those teams fully healthy. We'll see, though. Cleveland, I don't want to be disrespectful. The Cleveland fans, I have a lot of respect for Cleveland fans because I don't know how you guys put up with it and put up with garbage watching it like this. Those guys are so good in the regular season. They execute, and you already know what's going to happen when they play a true playoff team. Their guards are too small. They're too little. They cannot cover big guards. And in the NBA, you have big guards all over the place. You got 6'6" guys playing point guard now, 6'8". You got guys like Cade Cunningham bringing the ball down. All he has to do is just put one of these little boys in the post, throw Darius Garland in the post. That's it. Get Darius Garland rotating a little bit. That's it. I'm bringing Darius Garland up for a reason. He's a good regular season offensive player. I don't think he's good enough in the postseason to really defend against these higher level NBA guys. And that's no disrespect. Let me just say it right now. All these dudes could go bust anyone's ass at the local LA Fitness, any of these little pro runs where they have other pros coming in from different leagues. You'll see that Darius Garland is like Steph Curry to these guys. Okay, he's an all-star for a reason. He's a baller. But when it comes to the defensive side of the ball, he just doesn't have the goods to stop those higher level guys, or to slow them down, I should say. You're not going to stop a Steph Curry type of guy or a KD. But to slow players of that ilk down, you got to be exceptional on defense, or at least pretty good. And he's neither, unfortunately. Cleveland, I don't see them beating any team that I listed, like in New York, Boston, Indiana. I don't even think they could beat Orlando if Orlando was really clicking like how they should be clicking. Toronto has some good names on the team. I don't see how RJ Barrett, Brandon Ingram, and Scotty Barnes make it work. I think they need a player. Speaking of Cade Cunningham, I think they need someone like him to kind of run the show when it comes to running the offense. Toronto, I don't think is going to make the playoffs. We'll see. Same with Chicago. Miami, I think Miami would be very happy to make the playoffs via play-in, and probably a first-round exit should be expected. Spoelstra is a fantastic coach, one of the best coaches in the league, but I don't think their roster, I don't think they have it. Bam Adebayo, I realized that he was not going to be that next level all-NBA second-team type of guy. A few years ago in the playoffs against the Celtics, he was dominating the Celtics, dominating them, but offensively he just stopped trying. He stopped being assertive on offense, and I realized that he doesn't have that it factor, that dog mentality when it comes to scoring the ball. He's always going to make the safe play, the right play. Sometimes you got to put your head down when you're better than everybody else. You just got to do it. The Celtics couldn't stop him that year. I think that was 23. Celtics couldn't stop him. He was just balling, and he just he stopped being assertive. This is when Jimmy had a bad game, I believe. It's like a game 5 or game 4. It was in Boston. They had black unis on. I remember that. Like, come on, man. You better than 90% of the NBA, and you're not taking advantage of these mismatches when you have them. So that's Miami for you. I don't think they're going to be past the first round. Detroit, I think Cade Cunningham is going to get some MVP votes. I think that with Tatum being injured this year, he could potentially get an All-NBA appearance. Asar Thompson, got to give him credit. He doesn't get as much love as his brother, but same analysis here. He's a beast incarnate that just needs a spot-up jumper, or an off the dribble mid-range. That's going to take him to the next level. He doesn't even have to know how to shoot threes right now. Just get you a nice catch and shoot in the low 30s, something like that, low to mid 30s, and get you a nice off the dribble mid-range. If you can get a solid off the dribble mid-range shot and a decent spot-up shooter, you unlock your game to a whole new level, because both those guys, their jump shots are really low right now. You can easily block them. They're not consistent jump shooters at this stage, but once they do that, they're going to take their career to the next level. Orlando, Paolo Banchero, he's a monster. All right, is he an MVP level player yet? No, but I do think that this year he could take that step and become a All-NBA third team type guy, which he probably should have been last year. But if he can add a little bit more playmaking to his game, working out of the post primarily, then he can get to his face-up game. I think Paolo Banchero is going to lead that Orlando team to the playoffs. I think they'll be a first or second round exit. They made the playoffs this last year. They played the Celtics. That was a good experience for them, I think. But we'll see what happens with this Magic team. They're pretty young. Now with the Knicks this year is finals or bust. There is no in between. It's finals or bust. The East is wide open this year. Indiana, their top player tore his ACL. Not tore his ACL. Tore his Achilles. Top player tore his Achilles. You got Boston. Their top player tore his Achilles. So he's got two major contenders in the East with major injuries to key contributors. There is no excuse this year. I know they have a new head coach, but there's a reason they have a new head coach. They went to the Eastern Conference Finals last year with Tom Thibodeau. They didn't get a new head coach to regress or stay in the same spot. The pressure is on Mike Brown this year. He's got to get them to the finals. This is a weakened version of these teams from the year before as well. So this is first year you want to talk about a hot seat. This is a hot seat. Now the Hawks, they'll be lucky to even sniff the playoffs this year. I don't think it's going to happen. The Bucks, first round exit as per usual. Giannis is going to hit us with that same, he's rethinking things, and he's going to end up not forcing a trade. Right? I don't think Kevin Porter Jr. is going to be a good enough playmaker to efficiently feed Giannis and that whole offense, without creating turnovers. So, that's just me watching with my eye and providing a preview for this year. We'll see. I could be very wrong. I could be extremely wrong for the East. I like to get out of the East. I'd probably say give me the Knicks. Give me the Knicks to exit the East and emerge for that NBA Finals berth. I really don't see how they couldn't. I say this on purpose because I truly think the Knicks are somehow going to find a way to choke this up. That's typical Knicks basketball right there. But if there's ever a year they're going to make it to the finals, it should be this year. There's really no other team in the East that should be able to beat them at this stage. I think if Boston was healthy, I think if Indiana was healthy, they both take care of the Knicks. Wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. But the way it is right now, the Knicks have no excuse not to get to the NBA Finals, which the NBA would love that. They would love to have New York finally in the finals again. And then for the West, give me the Thunder. I think the Thunder, they're going to get to the finals, and they're going to handle business. The only team I think that could probably beat the Thunder at this stage, the Nuggets are smart enough to beat them. The Nuggets don't have the talent, but they're smart enough to beat them. Every time they play the Thunder, they give them trouble. And the Houston Rockets, I think, have the total package when it comes to being able to beat the Thunder. So I think the only team that can really beat the Thunder this year, are the Rockets and the Nuggets. The Nuggets are a weird team. They're a very weird team. They kind of play to whatever level the other team is at. If the other team is a beast, they'll kind of rise to it. The other team is trash, they'll kind of lower themselves to it. Last year, you seen them play the T-Wolves. They were playing at an inconsistent level the entire series, and it's just like, wow. You see what these guys are doing, it's like, my God. The Nuggets are very frustrating to watch when you see what they do with Jokic. And the supporting players, the supporting cast. I think Murray, in years past 23, I made the argument that him and Jokic were virtually equals in that offense. As of right now, that is completely false. That is not how it's going. Jokic runs the show over there. So they got to get it together. But that's what I got. I got the Thunder winning it all. And this is a long one, but I'm just going through the entire league almost. Players, teams. As usual, don't be mad at me, be mad at yourself.